Welcome to the Council of Moms. I'm Lisa Valentine Clark, mom of 5, actively parenting 1, trying to overparent children who have left the home, 4 of them. They're very patient with me. That's the stage of life I'm here in. Here on the council today, I am also super excited. We have...
Hi, I'm Amy Hackworth. I'm a mom of 3 boys, 2 adults, and an 11-year-old. I also work as a life coach. One of my favorite questions recently from my kids has been, hey, aren't you supposed to be a life coach?
Oh.
So
I am.
Anyway.
I love that. We also have...
I'm Erica Price. I'm a mother of 5 boys. I have 2 out of the house, 1 in and out of the house, and 2 that are still at home. I'm also a mother to a giant golden retriever, which I don't know what's harder, 5 boys or a hairy golden retriever.
Yeah. But jury's still out.
Jury's still out. And Amy, if it makes you feel any better, when I asked my kids, what's the best advice I've ever given you? Their response was, well, Dad says...
Yeah, big thumbs down on that.
I know. Glad I made no impact on their lives.
You're like, great. And last but not least, we also have...
Aloha, everyone. I'm G. Fidisamanu, mother of 5, empty nester turned semi-empty nester as my house is filling back up. And I also have my mom staying with us as well. So lots of fun at our house, and I'm so happy to join you today.
Well, thank you, everybody, for being here. We love the Council of Moms. The Council of Moms, because if motherhood looked the way it does on social media, we wouldn't be here.
It's true.
The Council of Moms, we wear a lot of hats, and not just to hide second-day hair.
Oh my gosh.
That's a good one.
I just did that.
Yeah.
On Saturday,
See?
but it was like 3rd day hair.
You leveled up. You leveled up. And always, Council of Moms made with real moms. And we are real moms right here. None of us are fake or trying to pretend like we have all the answers, but we do have a camaraderie and a connection that we're all in this together. Okay, today's question is, Dear Council of Moms, the other day, I overheard a conversation between my oldest, who's 9, and one of his friends, in which a minor argument ended with the friend saying, I'm sorry I didn't listen to you. I think I hurt your feelings. Let's play a game with both of our ideas. At which point, my child let out a big sigh and rolled his eyes. His friend said, sorry, do you want to apologize to me too? And he said, sorry. I was borderline mortified. And I've heard that apology plenty of times between my kids, whatever, they're young. But it sounded different when it was obvious that my son doesn't have the skills his peers do. How did I miss this? Help me out, moms. So, how do you teach etiquette in your homes? How do you teach your kids good manners? Council, what do you got?
I just really related to this question. I've overheard a very similar conversation in my home. And those other kids with that emotional intelligence to say, oh, maybe we should play a game with both of our ideas. I just really admire that. And it's not something maybe that's come naturally to some of my kids. So I feel that borderline mortification with you, Mom. That's what I have to contribute, is that I just can really relate to that a lot.
What a great question, what a great question, like to say, okay, they're 9 and I'm like, this is like not overreacting, but just, I maybe need to turn it up a little bit in what we're modeling. I don't know. How would you approach it?
I think for us, the art of the apology, we just tell our kids, we feed them this line, say sorry, just say sorry. But they don't know what that means or how that feels because they're just repeating something. And I think it's really rare that a parent really apologizes as much as they should to their own kid. So I think if they have received apologies from us, they know exactly how that feels. And then they can actually put some feeling behind their words when they apologize to someone else. But I don't know about you. I was not apologized to as a kid usually. Like I can think of one time that I received an apology from a parent, and I remember it because it was so rare. And I just think, how many times have I apologized to my kids? How do I expect them to know to apologize to others if I've never shown them how to apologize? So,
Oh, that's a good point.
I
Yeah, have
love
they
that
seen
you
it modeled?
right.
Right. That's what I was going to say, Lisa, is that modeling, I think, is important. This question is a great one because I feel like I probably didn't do as well of a job as I should have. But fortunately, in our culture, it takes a village, right, to raise a child. And so the norms of our culture, kind of instill that respect. We call that fa'a alo alo, meaning you respect your elders, you respect your parents, you have a respect for people in general. And so I found that to be very helpful because not only was it in our home, but it was in our community. It was in our churches, right, with our wards and our families. And so I think when you kind of model that at home, but you also have others in your community reinstating that, it's very powerful.
Oh, I do love that. I do like that. Acknowledging the community that you're in and being able to play to that strength as well. I wonder, like, when you guys are, and kind of implicit in this question is the idea of what is appropriate, age appropriate at different ages. Because I do think that, like, when you're thinking 9, and it's like, oh, sorry, or that's different than like if they're 14,
Yes.
16, 28. So
I
how do
love-
you adjust?
Yeah, I love what Erica said about the art of the apology. If we think about it as an art, we really aren't expecting maybe a lot out of our 9-year-old or as much out of our 9-year-old as we are expecting. And I think then we maybe give our kids some grace to move along that scale, but to refine that art of the apology. So maybe we're okay with a learning curve in that space if we think about it as an art. I mean, I think we know what doesn't work is pulling the kid aside real quick to be like, your friend just, that hurried whisper kind of thing. So I often think about how can we practice this in another situation when, it's totally neutral for everyone? Can we talk about what a real apology looks like? Hopefully they are hearing it from us as parents. But I think some role play and modeling feels really appropriate in a
100%.
situation like that. What does a real apology feel like? And if there's been enough time to separate, so you really are neutral about it, to say, hey, I noticed that so-and-so, offered you up an apology. How was that for you? What was that like when he said that? It sounds like you didn't really like it. Tell me more about that. If we can stay in that place of curiosity where we're letting our kid tell us what was on their mind and how that experience was for them, I think that could yield some helpful information, can help us know where they are in that process. And I think sometimes, I'd love to hear what you guys think. I think sometimes it is just a matter of emotional development, and there's not a lot we can do about that. I mean, we can offer education, we can offer support. I don't know, do you guys agree with that? That sometimes kids just are where they are, and they're not going to be the kid who apologizes first for maybe a couple years down the road?
Yeah, I mean, children are not born with empathy. That is something they develop. It's not like, oh, my kid's bad at apologizing. Kids, they're not all psychopaths, but they kind of start that way because they have no empathy, and they have to be, they have to be fostered. That has to be fostered. And so if your kid is struggling with that, it's okay. They're developing. It's all right. But I was going to say one thing that I feel like helps with the whole art of the apology too is empowering your kids to speak their feelings, because I think a lot of times if they can share their feelings to a friend, it helps the friend learn how to apologize. Because once again, if empathy isn't their strength and they're not picking up on contextual clues, for your kid to be able to say, wow, that really hurt my feelings. I had a kid who got into an argument with a friend, and the friend did something that was really mean. I mean, it was really mean.
Yeah.
And I thought, do I need to call the mom? Like, of course I'm stepping in and not doing the right thing. And he said, Mom, I took care of it. And I said, well, what did you do? He's like, I just texted him and told him how I felt and that I didn't think that that's how a real friend would behave. And I thought, good for you. And I said,
Yeah.
what happened? Like, what was what happened after that? And he said, oh, he texted back and said, you're right. You're right. I shouldn't have done that. And I'm really sorry. And I'm just like, sometimes these kids can do it if they just feel empowered to speak their feeling and their truth to their friends. And then they figure it out themselves. So that's just one idea.
I love that
So
because it's something that they can do. I know a lot of times when I've talked to my kids about like, they should apologize or I'm not apologizing, it's all sort of based on what's fair.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, here's the life lesson, roll up my sleeve about how life isn't fair. Like, how much do I tell them about how life is not fair, right? Like, if this is, and what I like of what you just said about that, Erica, is that it was, but I can always tell you how I feel,
Yes.
right? Like, because maybe it's just like how my dad was. He was like, life's not fair. And the earlier you learn that, the easier life's going to be for you, Lisa. And here I am, how many decades later, and I'm still learning that lesson. Dad was right. Sorry, Dad. But in telling the kids like, well, they should just know, or I shouldn't have to, it almost is like I have found, and I'm like this too, not just my kids, the idea of what is fair and what is just and who should, and the rules of engagement and the rules of etiquette or who should say what, it actually doesn't really matter at the end of the day, because if you're both not operating with the same set of etiquette or rules or information, it doesn't matter. And nothing will ever be fair. So instead, though, you can say, well, how did that make you feel when they did this or said that? Yeah, I think if I were in your place, I would feel the same thing of like kind of validating the feelings instead of just trying to push them aside and saying, get over it, right? Like that is something to like sit in that feeling, to be able to say that and say, if you are interested in a friendship with this person, not offending each other or not hurting each other's feelings isn't a real relationship, but what are you going to do about it, right? Like, and so you're also teaching them, I think, too, about like what friendship is like, you're going to make mistakes and they're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. But if you care about each other's feelings, right? Because if you're like, oh, I don't care, like, get over it. Well, that teaches you something about the friendship. But if it is like you were saying, Erica, oh, I didn't know, you're right. I didn't know that I made you feel that way, or I didn't, that wasn't my intention, or I feel, now I see that. I feel bad. I'm so sorry. That is that's the art of apology, right? Yeah. Of knowing what's behind it. And we all know what a fake apology sounds like, but if you just, I think, soften it and by saying, hey, well, when you said that or when you did this, it just really hurt my feelings. Yeah. No one could argue with how it made you feel. And I think that's a softer way for them to approach apologizing instead of like, what's fair, what's right? Well, I shouldn't be. It's like, oh, that's how you felt. Okay, well, this is how I felt.
I think insisting on the fake apology, as you're talking about, that sort of reinforces the idea that there is a fairness. That, if you just say sorry because that's the right thing to do, then you'll get a sorry back. Yeah, then get over it. And that doesn't help us get to that place that you're talking about where we can say life is not fair. I like
to call it the fake, the Real Housewives apology. Well, I'm sorry if that made you feel a certain way. It's like, well, that's not a real apology. I'm sorry if you were offended. And it's like, ooh, that's so fake, and kids, and if you make your kids fake apology, you're just teaching them, you're reinforcing them like, I'm sorry. And they're not.
They're not sincere.
Yeah.
I love how you guys are talking about, it's not just teaching our kids, but it's also teaching them to be sensitive to others. Like you're expecting someone to be sensitive to you, but how are you seeing them? Like you're saying, not everyone's in the same place. Not everyone's raised with the same skills. But I think it's important that what we can control, which is our own children, is having them see beyond just themselves. And I love it how you're saying, trust your feelings, be honest in your feelings. I feel like these kids grow up so fast nowadays that they are aware of feelings, right? And it's important for them at a young age to kind of own their actions and own this relationship of friendship, because I've noticed with my kids as they get older, they remember those times you know, and they go back to that's the type of person they are because, they weren't sincere. They weren't really respecting the relationship. And so I'm grateful that they conduct themselves, even when they're young, with just trying to be a good person. So,
but I appreciate you acknowledging that because, man, don't we do so many things as moms simultaneously? Like, by showing and modeling the art of the apology, you're also teaching empathy and how to express their feelings and how to be patient and listen to another's point of view at the same time. It's not just one thing. And I think that's more important. And if you are dismissed or you dismiss your kids and how they feel, but she said this, but I didn't, as they're trying, and you're like, I don't care, because I've been guilty of that. Like, I don't care who's at fault. Knock it off. Right. How many times did I say that? And it's like haunts me. I'm like, I don't care who did what first or when. I don't want to know the details. Just knock it off. Is different than okay, tell me how you feel. What happened? Okay, take a deep breath. Now what do we do? And now let's look at it. No one likes to be dismissed, and I think that this idea of like apologies and being offended is an opportunity for you to do FaceTime and to say, hey, how do you feel? That's what I would say to my past self.
Well, and I think as moms, we get, like, when our kids behave like this poorly with other people, I think it kind of hooks us like, oh my gosh, am I raising a jerk?
Yeah, there's a fear.
Fear of that. So I think that sometimes that fear can get in the way of really acknowledging their feelings because we just are afraid we're being bad moms, which is such a huge part of our identity. So we want to skip over their emotion because we want to get to the resolution, because if our kid is polite, then we'll have a good kid. And so I love what you're saying about slowing down to really acknowledge their feeling. And I think it's our own fear that gets in the way of doing that often. Sometimes it's just inconvenient and 100%. We just don't want to hear it anymore, or we're tired, but and then what a gift to our kids that they learn that we do really care about and value their feelings. Yeah. Hopefully they learn to care about and value their own feelings from that, right? When we slow down to understand what's behind it.
It's so much pressure too, because I feel like in our homes, it should be how the world should be, right? Like we're trying to model like the best of, like we talk to each other this way and we're kind and respectful and loving and playful and fun and all the ways that the world should be, but the ways it's not, because life is messy. And I wonder, do you guys, have you felt that pressure, and what have you done so that you don't sort of succumb to like sort of checklist parenting of like, do they, based on fear of, do they apologize? Are they kind? How have you fought against that kind of like, fear, like Amy's talking about?
I think it's natural to know that the world is not like home. I personally feel that. But I feel like the home needs to be the constant. And no matter what's going to happen in the world, that's okay. We know it's not the same as home. But at the same time, you are a reflection of who your home is, right? Yeah. And it's okay to show that goodness out there as well, without it being reciprocated. And I feel like our kids know that already. Being bombarded with social media. There's so much contention out there. There's so much hurt and shame, but you don't want them to go out and perpetuate that, and you don't want them to live their lives feeling like that's their world. Like, leave that behind. And for those that have relationships like that, because we are modeling what they're going to welcome into their homes later on, right? Yeah. And if we tell them that that's okay, I just feel like, oh my gosh, I want to protect my daughters. I want to protect my sons. I want them to know what's good. So when they choose for themselves, because you do have a choice, right? Choose good, and hopefully people will meet you where you're at versus trying to see if you're going to meet them where they're at. Because, who's to say?
And on an etiquette note for that, I feel like there's a lot of times where I have kids that'll say, but my friends eat dinner in the family room, or it's no big deal, or they get to put their feet on whatever, it doesn't matter. It's whatever your house rules are. And I'm like, too bad. This is how we do it here. And I'm hoping that maybe the rules in my house will somehow translate into, like you said, G, the world outside. Like, I hope they go to their friend's house and they don't even think about putting their feet on the furniture. And they don't even think about taking food out of, an eating area or, whatever. Oh, that makes me sound a little like I need meds for this.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm realizing I might be a little
It's good manners.
It's good manners, Erica. Yep.
If not us, who? Society will crumble and fall apart. Right? I do really feel that way. I'm like, this is chaos. If you just think you can take the milk jug and drink out of, like, society as we know is done. We are
it's
devolving. How about that? And they look at me like, Mom's lost it again. No, I'm with you, Erica.
The funny thing is, they act better sometimes out of the home.
What's that?
I mean, you harp on them
about?
to pick up your clothes, to do the dishes. What? And then you hear from a mother, oh, your son is so polite, and he helps with the dishes, and he picks up. And I'm like, what? Where's this kid? So, it goes both ways. Trust me.
It's a mixture of joy and pride, and also, like,
I know.
Anger.
Right. That's a mom's feeling that we all know. Joy and pride and anger.
But gee, this is like gold star on your forehead as a mom, because if that kid had not been taught earlier that that's what we do is we help with dishes and we say thank you for things that people do for us, even though they're hesitant to do it for us. You've taught them and they're totally paying that forward. Go, Mom.
Go, Mom.
Yeah.
But you know what? They don't want to give us the satisfaction. That's the hard thing. Like, we deserve that. That was my work, guys.
You're right.
So good.
And you don't benefit from it. I just had somebody, one of my kids is a server, and one of my friends, unsolicited, was like, we love it when they're working because they're the best and hardworking and clean and everything. And I was like, I bet. And I was like, this moment of pride. And then I was driving home and I was like, remembering what their room looked like when we woke up, when when they were, and I was driving home and being like, did they ever help me with the kitchen? Like, and I just was like, no. Don't go there, Lisa. Take the compliment. Take the win. They're out in the world and they're really clean. Take the win.
That's true. It is good to hear good things about your kids. So you're right. I just wish it was both ways.
Okay, so we're running out of time, and I want to make sure I get to this part of the question, which is how often or do you apologize to your kids? How do you model it? I'm dying to know.
Yeah, regularly. I apologize regularly. And I try to be sincere. I mean, I have to walk this line between how badly I really feel and how much my kids want to hear it. Do you know what I mean? They're really not interested in, especially my youngest is like, he's like, doesn't want to hear it. He's like, okay, fine. You love me so much and you said sorry. He's done with that. Do you know what I mean? So I have to find that balance of trying to model what a heartfelt apology looks like, and also like not pushing too many of his buttons, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. I feel like for my older kids, I think so much of it just depends on or relies on, I guess, the connection. I feel like we have a strong connection. And so when I apologize, they know I mean it and they know I love them. And usually those can be pretty simple apologies, I think, because we're relying on that pre-existing connection.
Yeah. I find myself doing most of my apologizing, ironically, to the kids I've already raised.
Yeah. Sure.
But I have to truly believe that repair is possible. Like, it's never too late to apologize. And I think when we do apologize to our kids, it's really important that we don't just say, wow, I'm sorry I didn't handle that well. I have tried lately to start saying, hey, I'm so sorry. I did not handle that well. This is how I should have done it. And then I almost give them the memory of me doing it right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Here's the new memory. Please take it.
Please take it.
This is how I really am.
But again, I think, if we just say sorry, it means it doesn't mean a ton. I think if we let them peek into our heart, that means a heck of a lot more. So anyway.
So
I appreciate that comment because as my kids are all adulting, right? And so it shows a maturity as your relationship grows into adulthood where you can admit, I'm not perfect and these are the things I'm trying at. And I am trying to be better at having conversations to where I don't have to apologize. So I can really put myself in their shoes because they're older now and we've kind of been through all those conversations. And it's now I need to take ownership of this conversation and elevate it in a way that's tell me what you think or kind of help me understand or help me in what ways do you like to receive information or advice or, because your intentions are good, but sometimes we just don't know, you know, and now is the time as they're adulting to really have that mature relationship where mom's an adult, you're an adult, we respect each other, we love each other, but we're going to grow. This relationship has to grow. So.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I find myself with big stuff of thinking about big moments in their lives that I wish that I could have handled in a different way. And I like being able to have those conversations because, I don't want it just to be an explanation of, well, this is why I reacted this way instead just to say, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. But I like what Erica said too. And well, actually, each of you touched on this of making it sincere and also meaningful to the person receiving it, which has got to always be individualized. But it shows that you have an established relationship. So apologies are hard and tricky. We're never done learning sort of the etiquette. Right. Isn't that the irony of it all? 9-year-olds, here's how we do it. We're still doing it, still modeling, which is one of my favorite horrifying facts about motherhood. It's never done.
That's right.
Which is beautiful and also sobering.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you so much for your time. This has been such a great discussion. Thank you for listening to the Council of Moms. As always, you can find us wherever you're listening to podcasts, and we're over on YouTube if you want to see what we're looking like and the faces that we're pulling when each other are talking or we're thinking about apologizing. You might want to tune in for those facial expressions. Please share the Council of Moms with someone you love because we are stronger when we're together. We need everyone on the Council of Moms. We need each other. We're in this together. Thanks. And we will see you next time.